Hi, this is Gerald Salenti. It's Thursday, July 16th, 2020, and here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front, well, let's go back yesterday. Stocks rise on vaccine progress. That's right. That's what they keep talking about over and over and over and over again. Vaccine progress. And you keep reading all of these reports coming out. Where's the economy going? What's going to happen? One after another, two things happen. They say that, well, they're downgrading their economic projection a bit more than they did before. Yeah, because they didn't see this thing coming and they don't know how bad it is. And then they also put in there, it will change when the vaccine comes out. So there's going to be a big fight. Those who want to get vaccinated, those that won't, and the rights they're going to take away from people who refuse to. And this is going to be a worldwide issue. Anyway, today, the Dow dropped 135 points, and the weekly jobless claim number came in slightly worse than expected. And it's going to get worse than this as well, because now they're closing down more places around the United States. And what else do we have over here? Shares of companies that would benefit from economic reopening struggled Thursday. Cruise operators Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian Cruise Lines fell more than 7%. United Airlines dropped more than 5%. American Airlines slipped 7.4%. You see where this thing is going? The market shouldn't be going up at all. It's one industry after another that's going down. And again, it's all in your Trends Journal, and Gregory Mannarino really spells it out very well. Thursday's moves followed a major sell-off in mainland Chinese stocks, which saw the Shanghai Composite down more than 4%. Also, disappointing retail sales in China, which dampened enthusiasm. The GDP grew 3.2%. Remember, they were complaining when the GDP in China was growing 6%, which was the worst level since 1990, and that was back before, in 2019, before the world got locked down on the coronavirus. Oil prices fell. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, plus, agreed on Wednesday to scale back oil production cuts from August. So they're going to be producing more. And here's the analysts' forecasts from around the world that we're averaging out. You're going to see Brent crude by the end of this year between $45 and $50 a barrel. That's not enough for a lot of economies to keep going, other than keep going down. Particularly the oil-rich countries that are very poor already, and we've been reporting on it, writing about it. Places like Nigeria, Venezuela, oil-rich countries, Iran, that are going down already. Iran, of course, is going down because of the sanctions put on it by the United States. Saudi Arabia, oil-rich, going down. So when things go down, things get ugly. So keep an eye out for it. Gold fell below the key 1800 level on Thursday as the dollar strengthened. Yes, the dollar strengthened. Gold is now around 1797, still very strong. And the dollar strengthening, the dollar's been up 40% since 2011. So what we're going to see is a weakness in the dollar as they keep pumping more and more money into the economies to pump them up. And the ECB said yesterday, well, we're not going to pump any more money in for a while. So that made the dollar a little weaker, but the dollar came back because the ECB is going to be dumping money into. And the only reason the dollar is staying strong is because all these central banks around the world and governments around the world are pumping in cheap dough. When the dollar goes down, the global economy is going to go down, and you're going to see gold and silver prices skyrocket. And again, our silver forecasts, as with our gold forecasts, have been precisely on target. Again, it's in your Trends Journal. Fed official expects a choppy recovery. Blow me away. Would have never known that. Oh, warnings grow. We are in a massive economic downturn. Lial Bernard, member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and warned in a webcast to the National Association of Business and Economics that effectively the rosy spin coming out that the economy is going back up is nothing more than bullshit. And she said it perfectly. Investors pull out $500 million from ETF in sign of Wall Street tech rally exhaustion. No kidding. The whole thing is artificially propped up. When is it going to come down? It's anybody's guess. Sobering data drafts hope of quick lift. Early data from Europe and Asia suggests a recovery from the economic crisis is not going to happen as quick as they said it was going to happen. And it's one piece of information after another. They're all backtracking. Singapore. GDP, it only fell, this is Singapore, and they got poor. It fell 41% in the quarter. Macron, the Catzon, over there in France, agrees to an extra 100 billion euros of pandemic recovery. You know what that is? Bullshit. You got it. Not going to do much at all. But, again, more cheap money flowing into the economy. All the details are in your Trends Journal. They'll be coming out more on this next week. Bank of Japan cuts forecast for economic growth. How many more times do you have to hear this? They're all cutting back. They all blew out this V-shaped recovery, W recovery, and I kept saying it's an FU V-shaped recovery. Forget about it. And now they're all saying what we've been saying from the beginning. What's going on in the world right now is unprecedented in world history. And these governors, mayors, presidents, prime ministers, re-shutting down economies is going to make a terrible situation much worse. Eurozone banks warn of lending crunch for businesses. Would have never known that. The Chinese stocks, they tumbled 5% in heaviest sell-off since February. I want to read you this because the negative reaction from investors could be explained by the belief that headline growth numbers were boosted by state-dominated and ultimately state-supported industrial sector, and the reality is that there are a few signs of organic recovery being in place, which would ultimately promise a boost to risky assets as demand recovers. This is according to Rabobank. The jump in gross domestic product was not mirrored by Chinese retail sales data, which declined for a fifth month. Now remember, China is a country of 1.4 billion people. What they reported, and if you blow it up by 20 times, it's still not a lot. Under 6,000 people died of the virus over there. I'm mentioning this because the economy is much more opened over there, and it's not going down. America, with 330 million people, has about 136,000 deaths from the virus. And again, all your data of who's dying, where and why in the world and in America is in detail in the Trends Journal. Going on to some other news and talking about how bad things are going. Up to 2,400 UK fashion jobs at risk. California Resources files for bankruptcy. The state's biggest oil and gas producer, the Santa Clara-based company, is the fourth big name in the U.S. energy sector and the biggest conventional producer to file bankruptcy since the outbreak of the coronavirus. It's not the outbreak of the coronavirus, it's the outbreak of dictators closing down the economy. American Airlines warns of 25,000 cuts Delta curbs plans to add flights as it records a $5.7 billion loss. This is not coming back. Delta's CEO described staggering downturn. Business travel could take years to recover. They estimate that business travel was responsible for 55 to 75% of major airline profits worldwide. Advertising crash derails digital publishers. They're going broke. First thing to cut, one of the first things, is advertising. Very interesting. German court decides Tesla's hyped claims on self-driving. And they said that Tesla's plans to steal buyers from German luxury automakers suffered a setback after a court in Munich ruled that California maker of electric cars made exaggerated promises about autonomous driving technology. This is old news. You go back to Howard Trends journals 3 years ago. You know what one of the top trends was? Driverless cliff. I said this, they said by 2020, back then, there'd be driverless vehicles everywhere, and we said, this is a lot of bullshit. You got it. Because you look at the reports coming in and why cars are being brought back. The airbags are blowing up, you can't start the ignition, one thing after another. And they're telling me you're going to have a driverless car. This isn't going to happen for a long time. And where it is happening is on mining sites, on places where you go to A to B, and that's it. It's not going to happen for many, 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 many years, maybe decades, on major highways. California order keeps business guessing. Yeah, that gruesome Newsom over there, the little boy playing governor, the dictator over there, yeah, that guy who closed down the place again. The people are going berserk. The business leaders are going under. But they don't care. Politicians don't care because they steal our money from us in the name of taxes. They get all the benefits, all the health care, all the pay, all the retirement that anybody could ever dream of. So they don't care about you losing your business or going out of business. They'll steal money from you any way they can, and the next big stealing game is going to be raising taxes. On to some global news. Shipyard is latest site hit by fires across Iran. This isn't going into much of the news. There are 5 major assaults in Iran, shipyards, nuclear plants, other places within just a few weeks. And it's not happening because things are breaking down in Iran. They're breaking down around the world. When all else fails, they take you to war. Watch out what's going on in the Middle East. Stay tuned. We'll be writing more about this. Libya's East open to Egyptian intervention. Libya's Eastern-based parliament has said it would welcome Egyptian military intervention in the country's civil war to counter what it describes as breaches of Libya's sovereignty by Turkey. It's not only Turkey, there's Russia's there, Syria's there. And they don't talk about who did this, who caused this. It's the liberal lovers person that was their savior, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, Barack Obama, along with Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, Susan Rice. And the lowlifes from France over there, Sarkozy, and no cojones Cameron over in the UK. The place is a hellhole. What I'm telling you is the Middle East is exploding. Not only because of this, because the economies have been destroyed in Africa, in the Middle East, and to a great extent in Europe. One of our top trends for 2020 was the New World Disorder. This thing was exploding before this happened, with the politicians closing down the global economy. So stay tuned on that. Back to the little corona stuff. Catalonia imposes curbs on movement as cases flare up. Say flare up, right? You know how many cases they had in Spain? Deaths? 3. 3 out of a population of 46 million people. Lock it down, morons. Macron mandates mask use as French cases edge higher. Edge higher. 65 million people in that country, 18 deaths yesterday. And where are they coming from? The facts are all there. You're looking at people 75, 80 years old from elder care homes. And you know the rest of the data who's dying. People that have chronic illnesses before. Walmart, Kroger to require face masks in all U.S. stores. And again, it's their business to do what they want. Wearing face masks is going to bring down business everywhere. You go into a restaurant, you're allowed to sit down and eat. They let you take your mask off. But when you stand up, you got to put it back on. What does it stop right at the table? The atmosphere is gone. Going to a restaurant is about experience. It's not going out just to get the food. Once spared Arizona, now suffers. Arizona has 7 million people, 2,500 deaths. And again, who's dying? Hey, how about that place, Sweden, that they say is really rotten, no good? Yeah, but that's about almost the same death rate. Matter of fact, a little lower. Again, it's elderly, infirm, the healthy people that are getting it. Yes, they're getting some fallback diseases, but not in a very big way, according to the numbers. Again, most recover. The recovery rate is about 99.32%. New York starts tracking some visitors. That's right. When you come in on a plane, you got to fill out this contract form. It's a real, very exclusive, long thing. And that travelers who don't complete the contact form can be fined $2,000. Colleges plan robust testing of returning students. They're telling you about all the testing over and over they're going to do with students as they go back to college and all the restrictions that they have. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be the time of your life. It's going to be... Colleges are going down. You're going to start seeing the new Rust Belt cities are going to be the big college towns. Mark my words, we said this back in February. It's going to happen. You're going to start seeing more of it by 2021, how bad things are going on. MBA testing policy eased. Schools across the country began waiving test requirements for the fall semester. Again, they're going to waive everything they can. They need to get students, and they're going to do anything to get them in. Remote learning widens America's educational gap. I mention this because, very important, online learning is the new future. The current system we have is antiquated. It was invented by the Prussians, the beginning of the industrial age. Learn how to read, write, do math, and follow orders. Those days are gone. And now, by locking down so many places and so many people working from home, online education is going to be the new future of education. So what I'm suggesting, for those of you that want to invest in the future, invest in this. It was one of my top trends in my book, 20 Trends 2000, back in 1996. I said this would happen in the 21st century. Interactive U. Interactive universities. This trend is enormous. And shootings rise for second straight week in New York. Let's see, the number of shooting victims in New York City is up. It's only up 63%. The number of shootings in the city rose by 130% in June. Well, it's not bad. The number of murders, it's only up 30%. What did I say? I said this was going to happen, again, back in late February, early March. It's happening. It's going to get worse. And that's why you see, dun, 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 new buyers rush to acquire guns. In June, background checks for firearms were up 136%. You see where this is going? When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And they're going to lose it big time. And then finally, New York Times writer quits. Ms. Barry Weiss described the Times opinion section as a place where intellectual curiosity had become a liability. This is a New York Times person that just quit. I guess she agrees with me. It's not the paper of record, as it's proven. It's the toilet paper of record. Nothing more than a lot of crap coming out of it and going into it. So, subscribe to the Trends Journal. Do what you can. Tell your friends. It's the only place where you're going to get the information that we're putting out. And what I just did now is a fraction of what you get in your Trends Journal, and all these stories with much more details provided so that you can prepare, prevail, and prosper in these very rough times ahead. Oh, and talking about rough times, don't forget, Brad Steiner, one of the top close combat cats in America, and a survivalist, is going to be providing week after week how to stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong, and live a life, and don't let anybody take it from you at many different levels, all in your Trends Journal. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's Trends in the News. The COVID-19 war has changed the world, but who's prepared? What's next? It's in your Trends Journal. Trends Journal subscribers are prepared. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happens. From the world leader in trend forecasting.